What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today we're going to talk to you about SoFi. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, break it down, what shorts did, and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did close fairly strong, up 1.72%, continuing that push higher after hours as well. 1308 the low, 1370 the high. Kind of low volume, but with today Friday, that's kind of the normal case. So 47.8 mil for that, 61.1 is the average. No actual news associated to SoFi today, but the market was digesting what Powell stated yesterday, as well as basically retail sales that came out this morning, which was phenomenal. So looking at month over month, came in at 0.4, forecast is 0.3, and then on a year over year, came in at 2.8 versus 1.9. So honestly, based on what Powell stated yesterday, they're going to be really looking at a lot of the data points. This is why you see this going down slightly, because they're not going to be in any rush to really cut rates any further, especially given the data, right? Data is showing that the consumers are out there spending the money. Other data as well is showing that the economy is relatively strong. If that's the case, you don't really need to cut rates all that much. So again, I kind of have to side with Powell a little bit. So right now, 41.8% likelihood of no cut for the December 18th meeting. So in my opinion, I think that's kind of a good thing. And the market started to kind of realize that, hey, we don't need this all that much. Like, the economy is relatively strong. So I think that's somewhat of a good thing. I did bring up, I think yesterday, how the market seems to be normalizing. So you're not seeing that much FOMO and whatever else. It's actually dependent on the company's fundamentals, technicals, and stuff like that. And in SoFi's case, it did have a pullback first thing, but luckily enough, it did bounce off of this point right here, this R1 general area, $13.12. So going forward, we know that is a strong support. This is the second consecutive day it did bounce off of that. So I'll go over technicals and stuff near the end, but shorts didn't do all that much. They did increase 104,000 shares, and that was near the tail end of the day. So they tried to bring it down a little bit, but to no avail. 14.59% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 155.38 million shares overall are being shorted. So one thing I do want to bring up, it occurred on Wednesday and now today, but today seems to be a little extreme. Normally it's always been negative 0.01, very minimal. Now it is negative 0.24. So there is a broker or brokers out there really wanting to stimulate shorting with SoFi. So I think it is fair to assume that SoFi is in direct competition with a lot of the kind of finance sector. And a lot of them have brokers and they can technically do this. So I've yet to find out exactly who is the culprit, but just the fact that the cost to borrow average in general is lower, it does signal that there is multiple brokers kind of doing this crap. But aside from that, 26 million in calls, 4.12 million in puts, 50% of all the options being done today were optimistic and bullish. And of the call options that were purchased today, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around $15 by next week. So you are starting to see that resurgence of optimism. This one popped up right here. So for March, you're seeing around $16 as well. So people are seeing more and more upside, which, like I said, is stemming back to the point that people are just, hey, the economy is doing good. There is not any real substantial fear in the market as of right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. But looking at the puts, though, you do see a consensus for it to be roughly sub $13. So in my opinion, a lot more upside is anticipated. And with today being Friday, this is the current open interest. So ultimately, I'll save you some time. It does equate to around 19 million shares in the money. Absolutely crazy stuff. So 4,000 at that 6, 7,000 at that 7, 45,000 at 8, 36,000 at 9, 29,000 at 10, 17 at 11, 2 at 10.50, 6 at 11.50, 14,000 at 12, and whatever else, 15,000 at 13, and 13,000 at 13.15. Like I said, equates to roughly around 19 million shares. So popping over here, you are seeing some transactions being done after hours, nowhere near that 16 million, 19 million. But given in all fairness, I think market makers would have already covered a lot of these older ones, or kind of the lower strike price ones. So around that $6, $7, $8, probably a lot of those were covered already, but still you could see a nice bump up in the stock price come Monday, or possibly pre-market, or even technically right now as well. So this is why it is up slightly, because just the level of buying. So let me know your thoughts on that. But throughout the trading day, as you can kind of see, so a lot of transactions there, a lot of good buying near the tail end, some selling right here. But generally, this is what caused that kind of push lower, is this string of selling. One big one as well, so 7.89 million overall. But as of right now, like I said, it did hold that R1. Technicals are looking fairly good on a side note. And quickly popping over to IBKR, just to give you a quick overview. So today it was able to kind of get above that ALMA. So ALMA is at 1358. So yesterday it kind of broke below that, signaling possibly a pullback. But luckily enough, with today's momentum, it was able to fight above that. So everything is pretty much looking a-okay for a nice continued push higher. So yeah, next week should be a lot of fun as well. So stay tuned for my video coming up over, I'll put it out on Sunday, on some expectations for this upcoming week. But all in all, I think a very good, strong close to the week. So what is your thoughts on SoFi? Was there anything that really stood out to you that you really wanted to buy a SoFi or sell? In my comments, you saw a lot of people. Yesterday was kind of the first sign of like a possible pullback. You had a lot of people kind of selling out. You can already tell based on my comments, just saying I sold. I don't know if they're just trying to do that just to spread FUD, just to cause more of a domino effect. But yeah, honestly, this is why, given the circumstances and the data, I think that SoFi is going to continue to move higher. You might have a lot of volatility, even looking at the fib levels, very wide gaps. So just anticipate a lot of future volatility as well. But as I've stated time and time again, just research options. Any stock that is very volatile, and if it is going to be trading within kind of a set parameter, you can always easily make some pretty good money. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that, I appreciate all of you watching.